Hello brew tubers and welcome to Brew Day. I'm going to keep this a fairly short video today as I've got a bit of a headache. Someone was drinking 3 litres of Steins with apple schnapps chasers last night, which probably wasn't the wisest idea. Anyway, Ruby Mild from the Bible, as recommended by Rusty, my good friend Russell. He brewed this a few months ago, said it was very good, so I'm going to brew it. It is going to be going on cask for my beer festival. I thought a mild was probably a very good beer to have on cask. Traditional style British beer and all that jazz. Anyway, malts, 4.5 kilograms of Marisota Pale, 150 grams of Crystal, 150 grams of chocolate malt, 125 grams of torrefied wheat. That's already in the Bulldog brewer mashing away, so I'll give that an hour and a bit mash. Yes, then that's 66 degrees Celsius that'll be mashed at. Then the boil, at the start of the boil is 30 grams of Golding, and then at flame out 15 grams of Golding. Boil time is 70 minutes, 1 protoflock tablet, usual time, and then using Whitbread ale yeast. So that's from the bottom of the Imperial Stout. So that should be all good. Yeah, that's about all I've got to say. I'll show you the mash. So there we are, the start of the mash. Hoping it'll get a little bit darker towards the end. If not, I'll just add some caramel, brewer's caramel. Hour and a half mash thereabouts. See what happens. The mash is finished, as is the sparge. However, when I tried to increase the temperature of the Bulldog brewer after the sparge, obviously start the boil, the temperature button didn't work. So I've had to transfer the liquid into my HLT and use that instead, and it's not great. So there is the disgraced brewer, and we've gone retro. We've gone to plastic buckets with dodgy kettle leads. Oh God. We should still get a boil out of it. I reckon we'll be okay, but we'll see what happens. I'll meet you again when the boil has started. Start of the boil, 35 grams of East Kent Golding. So it's a 70-minute boil. Next hop additions at flame out, and obviously a proto flock tablet in the last 15 minutes. Last 15 minutes of the boil, in goes a proto flock tablet. So 15 minutes and then the final hop addition. Flame out, in goes 20 grams of East Kent Goldings. And let's actually do the flame out bit. Perfect. Right. Probably should have used a hot spider, but I didn't because I don't know. I'll switch the old immersion chiller on. Perfect. Right, we'll cool this down and then transfer to the conical fermenter. So we have reached the end of Brew Day. The Ruby Mild is in number 2 fermenter, which has been set to ferment at 22 degrees Celsius. I have pitched the yeast using the Whitbread ale yeast, which I've used previously on the Imperial Stout. So yes, that's in there. and hopefully that'll start fermenting soon. The gravity was 1050. So yeah, with an original gravity of 1.050, that's 1 point above the recipe, so I'm pretty pleased with that. I can't tell you how much I've got in terms of liquid, probably about 23, 24 litres I'm guessing. I didn't actually check when I transferred it, but never mind. So yes, we'll see how this ruby mull turns out. Estimated ABV is about 4.6, so that seems reasonable enough. Quick run through the recipe. So 4.5 kilograms of pale malt Marisota, 150 grams of crystal malt, 150 grams of chocolate malt, 125 grams of torrefied wheat, and then for the 70-minute boil was 35 grams of East Kent Goldings at the start of the boil, Protofloc tablet last 15 minutes, and at flame out 20 grams of East Kent Goldings again. So yeah, pretty simple. We'll see how that turns out. As I said, Rusty highly recommended it, so it must be alright. Quite exciting putting it on cask. I've got all the bits and bobs for it, the spiles, the tap, keystones, cask. It's all very exciting. So that'll be yeah, so that'll be in a couple of weeks' time. That'll go on cask. So 2 weeks to ferment, week to condition in the cask, I think, and then racking and venting and God knows what I've got to do. It's a learning curve, but I have people to tell me what to do, so I'm fairly confident it should turn out okay. Thought it was quite fitting to do a mild for a cask beer. I like milds, one of my favourite styles, so yeah, seems good. Yeah, so good brew day other than the failure of the Bulldog brewer. I can't remember if I told you what the problem was, but the problem was the temperature control button stopped working. So after the mash and after the sparge, tried to increase the temperature for the boil, no response from the button, couldn't change the temperature, so yeah, we're a bit stuffed. So I had to then transfer everything to the Pico bucket and switch that on. And that did okay. It took a long time to get up to the boil, but you know, it didn't do it did its job eventually. So yeah, can't complain. So yes, we now have to see if we can fix the Bulldog brewer. If we can't, then an upgrade potentially is in the pipeline. We shall see. We shall see. Funny, speaking about using the Pico electric bucket thing. Before I brought the Bulldog brewer, the last beer I made in that was a mild, so it would come full circle almost. Anyway, right, that's it. We've seen enough.